Okay, we're here with Steve Root Live, at least at the moment it is. We're here on Veterans Day. We all know how much we owe veterans for our country. Without veterans, I think we'd all be speaking German at a time when we didn't want to be. We owe them an amount that can never quite be repaid. They saved our Earth from invading forces that were not too kind to us, and it's good that we have a day to celebrate them. So thank you to all the veterans out there. Continued thanks and blessings to all of you. A lot of you wanted to see updates on what I'm working on, and here comes the Flowheart here to tell us all about it. Flowheart, are you here to tell us all about it? Are you here to tell us, Flowheart? Okay, well, she'll get around to it when she's ready, like always. We got a question in the other day about my work habits. One is, how do I balance several projects at once, and what is my average day like? Is that what the question was? Okay, so how do I balance things? Well, first off, I balance things, in this case, it's not always like this, but in this case, I've got things that I have to get done, I would like to get done for these people before Christmas. And given that it's early November right now, I think it would be a really good idea to get on the stick and start working out a schedule so that I can get these things done. So that's gonna involve some scheduling and some shrewd hourly whatever it is. I just have to be very conscious of time. And if I do that, I can do it. I can pull it off. These are fairly involved projects that I'm really excited about. One is this gigantic Superman painting that's done in oil paint on canvas. You guys know how much I love working in oil. I've worked in oil ever since my school days, starting back when I was 19. I took a year off from college. Most people enter college at 18. I was smart enough, smarter than them anyway, to take a year off to find out who I was. That was very important. So I entered college at art college at 19, and it was extremely beneficial to me. And listen to your conscience. I've always done that my whole life, and it's never not worked for me. It's an inner thing that we're all born with, and I've never found it to be a case where if I didn't listen to it, it didn't work out. But in fact, the only time you really get screwed up in life that I've found out is when you don't listen to it. It's a voice that comes from within. I don't know quite what it's all about, but it's never steered me wrong. And the times that I've ignored it, I've been in a lot of trouble. So the X-Men project, let's get to that. As far as my day goes, I get up much earlier than I used to. There was a time when I dreaded mornings, but that's when I was like 18, 19, 20. I would work very late at night at my job at Pizza Hut. I'd get in like 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 3. And the idea of getting up early just scared me to spitlessness. I remember one time my mom was trying to kick me out of the house because she'd had enough of me. And she said, "You should enroll in the Army." So a lot of friends came to my rescue and said, "Well, Stephen isn't really worried about mornings. He's worried about taking direction. He's worried about about being pushed around by people superior to him," which was clearly the case back then. But to me, it was mornings. I just didn't want to get up at the crack of dawn. So, but now it's different. Things change over the years and now the decades. And I get up, as early as 5:30 in the morning sometimes. I stop work around 7. That's when I'm fried, and I don't want to go on any longer. we've got some people doing the entertainment show during intermission here. Oh, now they're getting along here, but they weren't a second ago. Oh, they're going to start up again here. Flow hard in the dick. They're having a good time here. So, how do I go about doing these projects? Well, it really hasn't changed that much since I was a kid in college, or even before that. You're born with these natural instincts, and everybody knows. Go ahead, take care. Look at these two here. These two are getting crazy here. Intermission. All right, you blowhards. I'm using. These guys are alert way before I am in the morning. Everyone's born as an individual with certain characteristics that lead them through life and direct them throughout their time here. And it's no different with me. It's no different from you. And I think the trick is to hone those skills and develop them in time with your maturity. You're maturing over life, and I really don't think my habits, the way I think about things, haven't changed a whole lot at all. I don't think they're a whole lot different than when I was going into art school. It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but I think you guys know what I mean, and therefore I don't have to explain it. So that's I'm going to save you an earful just from that. I've always had sketchbooks. A lot of people abhor doing these kind of works. I thrive on them. If I couldn't do them, I would probably go crazy. So that's my reason for doing things. And if you look up here, this is my first little rough of the X-Men commission that I'm going to be talking about today. So from there, it always starts out there. I get my initial thoughts down. I just kind of free associate. I wait for something to come into my head. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, like Rockwell always talked about with his ideas. And other times it just kind of floats into your consciousness without effort, like that Zen kind of thing. But it's always different, and it's always going to be different. So from there, I work up a little rough, like this one right here. I showed the guy what I did, and he said, well, could you change a few things? And I said, sure. So I went from there to doing a Xerox of this right here, blown it up really big. This is the Xerox that I've pasted together from 11 by 17 pieces of paper. This is how I've always worked. I'm too lazy to go down to Kinko's or wherever it is, Office Max, and get a straight full sheet of this. So I end up pasting these things together. I want to get on with it. I don't want to waste time. I just want to get going. So from here, I transfer the thing on through that tracing paper stuff, that blue carbon paper that you can buy at art stores. And from here, once I transfer it, notice the presentation here for your enlightenment. And then I pencil it fairly loosely, but making sure I have everything in place. So it's fairly loosely done. I'm not sure how I'm going to proceed from here. I have a really good idea, but if I'm not quite sure where things are going, even with my little color rough, where's my little color rough here? I can't find my little color rough. There's something always hiding when I'm doing these demos here. But I've got the whole thing mapped out. It's going to be a night scene. The coolest thing I saw in my head before I got going here was I saw these sentinel guys erupting from the ground, and there was this light pouring up from the ground. So I had this incredibly dramatic uplighting. So that's the first thing that I saw, and I built everything around that. So I've got all the characters in a composition that kind of revolves around in a circle kind of a thing. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I just got to plan it to the point where it's not over-planned and it's not under-planned. You guys know what I mean. You're all artists out there. But everyone is using their powers. I have to make sure that the poses that I've drawn out of my imagination, from studies of the mannequin and all that kind of stuff that comic book artists tend to be versed in, never look stiff. They have to look natural, no matter how dynamic or non-dynamic the poses may be. So I've got them interacting with all these elements. That's the rude touch right there. That's always something I've had I guess as a gift. So I've got to take all these things in this outline pencil form and unite it with a value scheme, and then work color into it. So everything when you see it is not cluttered, is not too cluttered. It's got to be read no matter how many things are going on here pretty easily. And that's the challenge of doing these paintings. And you can see it's a considerable challenge. And that, for me, for most artists, I hope, is that challenge is the fun of doing these things. It's endlessly exciting. It's endlessly demanding. It's endlessly challenging. And out of that, you end up having a good time. This is what we like to do. And so the fun and the challenge, they always go together. And I can't think of a greater way to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to do something like this. And I'm in my 60s now, but I kind of feel like I'm ageless. I think a lot of people, when they get up in the various decades of their life, feel like that. They kind of summon this. I think creative people have this energy that kind of defies an actual chronological age. And that's exactly how I feel. So I hope that answers your question. This is what I'm working on now, and I'll keep you updated to see how I'm doing with it. And more questions I'm happy to answer. And again, Veterans Day, think about the guys that have basically made our world what it is, as safe as it can possibly be due to our democratic ways. And we'll see you next time, okay? You guys take care, and we'll chat some more next time we're together, okay? Take care and bye-bye.